Just when you thought we're barely through half of 2024, yeah, the amount of rumors of the Galaxy S25 is already heating up. We do know designs are usually finalized at least 7 to 8 months before a product is launched, as time is needed to manufacture the devices, so it doesn't hurt to round up what we've been currently hearing about this new device in another deep dive. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocket Now, and let's talk about the future Galaxy S25 series, or at least part of it. There's no denying that the Galaxy S has done a pretty good job at being one of the major driving forces for the industry. They were the first at using names like Ultra, and then one of the first to go completely crazy when it came to camera lenses on a phone. For 2025, we are expecting some possible major changes, but there are still conflicting rumors on that end. If you remember, back at the Galaxy Foldable launch in Korea, I was one of the few fortunate to visit their design studio led by Huey Lee. Yeah, that Mercedes-Benz famous designer, Huey Lee, who is now working with Samsung. We got to see the process and just how many iterations of a product get tested before the final product gets built. You want an S Pen being built within the foldables, right? Yeah, that got tested. You want a wider outer display? That also got tested, as mock-ups were available for us to see. His tenure, sadly, has been a bit too fresh, so I don't think we'll get to see his style permeate into the Galaxy lineup until 2026, though I'm hoping I'm wrong. Sam Mobile seems to think that we could see something next year, and I'd love to see it, as his work in Mercedes is fantastic. Samsung's use of titanium this year is one move I don't necessarily think came as an imprint from Lee. Obviously, we saw another company take the jump, so hey, what gives? Thing is, there is speculation that Samsung might continue with titanium, though maybe a different type. And listen, I'm not one to know how many variations there are, but I will tell you the current Galaxy S24 Ultra is pretty sharp to hold, whereas Cupertino is providing a softer, easier to handle approach with the rounded curves. Regardless, a different finish would be welcomed on a phone that big, as I don't even feel the move this year did provide any positive contribution. The phone is not even that much lighter than it was when it only used aluminum. That said, we do hear the amount of prototypes is pretty significant. In a now deleted social post from Panda Flash via Android headlines, we hear that Samsung is currently testing 4 prototypes of the Galaxy S25 Ultra. These changes could range from thinner bezels with the same frame as before, to a thinner and flatter frame with slimmer bezels, or even thinner frame with rounded edges. Despite these variations, another thing we do hear is that it seems that the front of the device will mostly resemble the Galaxy S24 Ultra, so that's why I don't think the imprint from Lee is in, as he's not a copier, he's an innovator, he's fantastic. But anyways, moreover, another leaker, Bennett Buhner, has suggested that Samsung might increase the display size of the upcoming device to around 6.9 inches. Yes, exactly like what we hear from the Pro Max, and for which we already have dummies for. This hints to the possibility of a slightly larger device, although it could also mean that Samsung is aiming for a more immersive viewing experience by reducing the bezels, thus altering the aspect ratio of the screen. And as for the other Galaxy S25 variants, we also hear increases. According to Korean blogger Yoks1122 on Naver, the base model of the Galaxy S25 could also see an increase in screen size by 0.16 inches, bringing it to a total of 6.36 inches. If these rumors hold true, it would mark the second time in the last 3 generations that Samsung has opted to increase the diagonal screen size of the base model, suggesting a trend towards larger displays, even for what I currently consider one of my favorite small phones of the year. Oh well. Now let's switch to cameras, because that also is what makes a Galaxy a Galaxy. Way back in 2023 in December, Revegna said in a post that has since been taken down that the new flagship series would have a 1-inch sensor with really small pixels at 0.8 microns, with dual pixel autofocus and in-sensor crop zoom. And listen, if that were to happen, this is huge. Samsung has been trailing behind everyone in the physical size of the primary sensor, even if they disguise it by telling you that you're getting an insane amount of megapixels. The leaker didn't say which model would get the new sensor, but I wouldn't need to guess it's for the Ultra. They did mention in another post that the S25 and S25 Plus will no longer use the dreadful GN3 sensor, quote unquote. which is also a positive change. Not sure if this means the company will shift to Sony sensors like the rest of the industry, but we'll see. Ravegnis also shared a camera plan that suggests the wide-angle lens and the periscopic telephoto will be upgraded to variable capabilities, but we don't know what that means, probably aperture. They also said that the ultra-wide-angle lens will be upgraded to 50 megapixels, which is also welcomed. But then again, hold it right there. Ice Universe also shared a bunch of possible camera details for the Galaxy S25 Ultra on Weibo on May 27th that pretty much contradicts everything. Ice mentions that the Ultra will keep its 200 megapixel main camera and 50 megapixel 5x telephoto, but would switch to a 50 megapixel 3x camera and the 50 megapixel ultra-wide lens. The 50 megapixel 3x camera would be a big improvement over the current 10 megapixel 3x lens, which has been used since, the S21 Ultra back in 2021? And, well, let's switch now to displays, though sadly, not many details are available right now, apart from the speculation that the screens might get bigger. If we're honest, unless a competitor comes out with something better than that AMOLED 2X, there's really not much incentive for Samsung, which, they have led this industry for years. We did hear rumors of certain advancements, though. Apparently, these new panels for the S25 could enable fingerprint scanning anywhere on the screen, and they would even allow scanning multiple fingerprints at the same time, but we've been hearing that for a bit. Dieter May, the CEO of ISOARG, made a prediction that Samsung would have these displays ready for 2025, but it's hard to tell if they will be launched on time for the S25, as that means they should be launched in 2024. Now, as for the chipset, the 2024 return to the partial Exynos approach wasn't well received, even if the chip has been performing quite well. And the rumors of going full Exynos are not something to smile about. However, Digitimes just chimed in that the Galaxy S25 will stick to a dual chip approach, with what we assume will be named the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 and the Exynos 2500 in certain markets. Panda Flash via Samsung Mobile did mention that the new Exynos will be made using Samsung's second generation 3nm fabrication, so it could actually be a great product. We hear it'll be even more efficient than the 2400. How well it will compare to the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, we'll have to see. One rumor that should be taken with caution suggests that the Exynos 2500 will include a dedicated AI accelerator developed by Google. Samsung has been developing its own AI technology for the past couple of generations, so partnering with Google would imply that Samsung's own AI efforts would take a back seat, just like Bixby. Regardless, partnering with Google, I think, is the right thing to do, in my opinion. But we'll see. There's also OpenAI. Now, as for the rest of the specs, we do hear that Samsung has been researching stacked battery technology from electric vehicles to be used on smartphones, which could probably bring an extra 10% in energy density on a smaller power pack. Now, as for battery growth, we actually only heard a sketchy rumor that the S25 will go for 5,000 milliamp hours, in addition to faster 45-watt charging at the base. It hinted to the Ultra going to 65 watts, but again, take all that with a grain of salt. Now, don't celebrate much when it comes to memory, though. ICE recently posted that the base S25 will stick to 8 gigs of RAM. Seriously, what year is this? And especially when memory is such a need for AI efforts. Now, the story is kind of different with storage, with Samsung Semiconductor publishing its UFS 4.0 4-lane CES for 2025 and even UFS 5 for 2027. Yes, this means better speeds, but as for capacity, we don't know how it's going to go, but Samsung has not skimped out on that, so that's actually good. Now, as for price, we sadly don't have any updates there, so stay tuned for future rumors, as only the Ultra got a price hike this year, and we're hoping that that does not change in 2025, because, hey, there's really no more, or at least we hope no more inflation. Anyways, to conclude, what can I say? A possible design refresh, maybe better camera hardware, a better chip with faster storage, all indicate to good improvements, but I'm not necessarily sure if this all means major change or innovation. At this point, Samsung has been refining a design language that's 3 generations old, so it would be great to see change. It would be great to see what Huey Lee is bringing. But anyways, all these things take time. You'd be shocked at how much time. Let us know what you think about the rumors of the Galaxy S25 in the comments down below. And while you're at it, follow us on social media and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. You can also follow me on my personal handles to see me complain about rumors. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I'm Jaime Rivera. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.